Hey, welcome to AI Ninja. Last week in my newsletter, I talked about how we are using AI, or I want to make sure that we're using AI to create real lasting impact, that we're not just kind of being replicators, that we're trying to find ways to innovate and to create. And I think to understand the biggest hurdle isn't technology in this equation. It's not the market. It's not the competition, which are certainly challenging factors as you're trying to navigate this land space as a solopreneur or a small business owner. But the biggest challenge is you. It's us. It's what's in between our head right here. More precisely, it's that voice in our head that whispers, that imposter syndrome propaganda saying, God, if they only knew the real story about me, if they only knew how unprepared I felt or how scared I felt or whatever the case may be, that we can't compete with the big players, that who do you think you are, that the AI is so advanced, I'm not technically savvy, I'll never get to learn it, right? Sound familiar? Well, it's resistance is what we're talking about here. And resistance is that force. And if you've read Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, if you haven't read it yet, I highly encourage that you do. It's been my Bible for almost a decade now. And it is a book that really gets to the heart of resistance. Most importantly, in a Cliff Notes version, that if the angels, the God, muse, whatever you believe, put something on your heart and it's important to you and you take a step and start to pursue that, and the more important it is to you, resistance is going to try to stop you. And I don't know what that force is, but it's true. And particularly if it's something meaningful from you going from a lower plane to a higher plane, it will try to stop you. And that's the reality. That's the price of admission from doing this thing. But what if I told you that this fear or this imposter syndrome or whatever you're feeling inside, this greatest fear could be your strongest ally? And that ally is AI. And embracing these large language models, particularly, that has been the most transformative thing that has ever happened to me in my 56 years of life. These last 2 years have been totally transformative, which has led to the creation of AI Ninja, and why I want you to feel that same transformation, because this isn't about technology. This isn't about, you know, entrepreneurial hustle and grind. It's about tapping into that authentic core, gaining agency around yourself, getting this cluttered mind decluttered, and start to do something that you were meant put on this planet to do, to find your purpose. And that is what AI Ninja is all about. And so I want to deep dive in this conversation on how do you you already have it, a mind of an innovator. I wouldn't be talking to you, you wouldn't be watching this far if you didn't have the mind of an innovator. But how do you unleash it? How do you untap it? How do you get those barriers down and explore how to turn this inner critic that we all have, by the way, into a launch pad for success with AI or large language models specifically as your trusted co-pilot? That because it is totally transformative. So I am going to talk about how these large language models and AI can silence your imposter syndrome. I'm going to talk about how these large language models can be the ultimate limiting belief buster. And also we'll tap into how to unleash your innovator mindset, how you plus these large language models versus the world. This is not man versus machine, right? This is you and the large language model AI versus the world. So it's time to turn this mental background into a launch pad for growth and opportunity. That's what this channel is all about. That's what AI Ninja is all about. And so look, every entrepreneur has two businesses, the one that we're building and the one that is within our own mind. So it's almost like we fight on two battlefronts. Our business, our purpose, what we're trying to do in the exterior, and the one of our own mind, right? So which one do you think is tougher? I think you know that. And so we have to recognize the voice of resistance. Like I said, it's sneaky, it's insidious, it comes in the form of procrastination, limiting beliefs, self-doubt. And in this age of AI, we know AI is important. You hear things like AI is changing everything. I'll never be able to get caught up. I'm already behind. Only tech geniuses can leverage AI. The industry is too human. AI wouldn't affect it. Those are the things I hear about AI and this revolution that's already upon us. And imposter syndrome is for everybody. I mean, I saw a statistic on an article that says 84% of entrepreneurs, this was in Brains magazine, that says that 84% of entrepreneurs admit to grappling with imposter syndrome. I think that's closer to 100%. I think the 16% that said they don't deal with imposter syndrome, they're lying, right? Because their egos are getting in the way. I have never met anybody that isn't dealing with imposter syndrome. Now, 70% of this survey, people said they think they lack the tech skills to be competitive in an AI-driven world, which is another myth that we're going to bust. And then that article also said 62% believe their businesses are too small to benefit from AI. So we still got a long way to go to try to convince people that, look, this isn't about technology. This isn't about being left behind and being tech savvy. This has nothing to do with technology. This is a leadership language thing. You've heard me say that before if you've been following me. And so this cost of giving into resistance is what we need to realize that it's expensive, because what does it do to kind of succumb to resistance? Well, it breeds stagnation and mediocrity first and foremost. And so the people that do, and it's coming, like you can't do anything about AI. You're obligated to learn how to use it responsibly and ethically. And just from an economic standpoint, if you don't, you're going to be left behind. The people that are already adopting AI just on a process improvement page, I mean, easily 50% higher profit margins, 2.5 more times likely to fast pace and fast grow your business. And the hesitators are going to get left behind. It's just the story of progress in technology, right? So every day you listen to that voice of resistance, though, I think you know this inherently, you're missing out on opportunities. The competitors are going to pull ahead. And you know this, but the answer is, how do you wield this weapon? I think we talked about that in the last video. How do you wield it? What are the things that we do? Well, this is why we're creating this video and why we're doing this, right? The good news is resistance can be overcome. And if you read The War of Art, it talks about that. It's a negative force. It seems doom and gloom. Like, what's the point? It's the price of admission of doing something significant and great, but it can be overcome. It's like the fact that once you are aware that everybody's dealing with imposter syndrome and resistance, well, then that kind of levels the playing field in a sense. You're not mentally ill because you want to procrastinate, or you're fearful of taking a step forward, or your mind cannot shut off because you have too many thoughts. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is where the large language models have come in and completely transformed my life. I mean, certainly for me and a lot of people that are in my mastermind, and the 135 people that have interacted with me in my original mastermind, the common theme was overactive brains, not a lack of ideas, but too many. And so using these large language models to gain alignment and clarity is what it's all about. And so that is where these large language models and these AIs really shine, in that idea crystallization, if you will, to turn these whirlwind of thoughts, this drunk monkey brain with all these thoughts, into clear, actionable plans. That is the biggest kind of benefit I've seen personally for myself. And the rapid prototyping of ideas, not necessarily physical prototypes, but for your products and your services, you can put all these ideas out there and you can fail them fast, fail them early, which is the ultimate goal as you're trying to prototype ideas. You don't want to spend a lot of money. You want to see if this is going to be viable or not. And this is where the large language models shine. And of course, connecting the dots. I think this knowledge synthesis of bringing everything together, which was so difficult to meet and muscle through with my ADHD brain, my hyperactive brain, right? And so those are the three main benefits I see: the crystallization of ideas, the prototyping, the knowledge synthesis, that has really transformed my life in radical ways just in the last 19 to 20 months. And so understand that you are not an imposter because you have imposter syndrome. I want you to start understanding and believing that you are an augmented innovator, right? You are an innovator. If you've made it this far into this video, 9 minutes in, you are an innovator. And so hopefully you'll stay in through the end. So the other thing I'd like to say is not only by brain dumping these ideas, a little nugget of gold will come out of that. So if your brain is hyperactive like mine, you can sit down with a laptop and you can just brain dump yourself into brilliance by turning your ideas, throw your ideas in any particular order. It doesn't matter, right? You can just vomit, not literally, but figuratively vomit your ideas into the large language models and let them do the organization, the categorization, the prioritization, and bring that clarity to chaos. So that is a great advantage that I don't think a lot of people realize how powerful that aspect is. And then the other thing that's really powerful is you can have it question everything. One of the great things is having these large language models generate probing questions about your ideas, about your purpose. It's like having that perfect assistant, that perfect therapist right there that's really probing you and challenge you, being that devil's advocate to challenge your assumptions and uncover those blind spots that you would never notice if you didn't use it. These are things that I've seen and how my transformation has really come to forefront. And you can talk to it. I mean, even now with the new voice commands, you can sit on there, and I've been driving along, and if I got something in this cluttered mind, I'll just turn it on and say, hey, ChatGPT, look, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I have all these ideas and I have all these doubts. Can you help me organize my thoughts, please, and challenge my assumptions and identify a clear path forward? These are things I had actually said to the large language model, and you will be amazed at how that back and forth as you're driving, as that anxiety comes across, how crystal clear things can get. So your cluttered mind isn't a weakness. Your ADHD, your OCD, your neurospicy mind is not a weakness. It's a wellspring of creativity. Okay. I think you have to embrace that. And I say that with confidence because I said 99% of the people that have joined and interacted with me, have paid money to interact with me, have neurospicy brains. I don't know why it is. I guess it's because I do too. And this has been so transformative. And I want you to feel that same transformation. Look, your mind isn't fixed. It's this fertile playground, and AI isn't just tech. Okay. It's your growth partner. That's how you have to look at it. And the sooner that you embrace that, the more confident you're going to become and the more creative you're going to become. It's going to unleash this creativity that's been this wellspring inside of you for decades now, right? You're going to go back to that 6 to 7 year old kid and where everything is possible. And isn't that how life is supposed to be lived? I think it is. And so the old mindset is, I can't keep up. The AI empowered mindset is, look, I can't wait to learn what's next, because you can literally learn anything. You can get a personalized learning path for anything you want to learn. You want to learn about quantum physics? Have ChatGPT or Claude set up a personalized learning path for you so you can learn it. You want to learn about copywriting, you want to learn about building a website, you want to learn about whatever. You can literally learn anything for free, and these large language models will give you this detailed personal plan. And then you can also have it tap into its expertise. If you're stuck on a concept, you don't know how to go forward. If you're writing a book and you don't understand how these characters are going this conflict is going to flesh out, and you're stuck and you got writer's block, start talking to it, feeding into it, right? Ask AI or large language models, ChatGPT or Claude, for explanations in multiple formats so you understand it. And then also, if you feel like you got a skill gap in some area and it's really bothering you, I see people that, well, then have ChatGPT or Claude list your goals to them and let them provide a roadmap for your mastery. Look, it's all about reframing everything. The old mindset is like, failure is the end. And you've heard me say this before if you've been following me, that what does failure even mean? It's like a Dr. Seuss word. It's a nonsensical word, where the new kind of innovator mindset in this creator economy is that failure is data, right? So you get the ability to fail them fast and fail them early. You got this rapid experimentation opportunity with using these large language models to generate multiple approaches and learn from every attempt. And then, of course, once you say you did fail at something, you could input all that data and say, where did they miss wrong? And maybe they recognize some patterns. You feed those failures into the large language model. You uncover hidden patterns. You turn those obstacles into stepping stones. So look, failure isn't a setback. It's a step up, right? It's a setup for a breakthrough. It's a setup for growth, and to use kind of that old cliche. So the idea is to understand that resistance is going to be there, particularly if it's really important for you. The bigger the leap from here to here, the more that resistance is going to try to stop you. So how do you get it in that flow? Well, to me, it's using these large language models, right? Creativity isn't magic. You are a creative human being. Don't ever say to yourself, and if I ever hear you say that I am just not a creative person, that is BS. You are, first and foremost, you are a human being with a brain. You are the most creative creature on this planet, right? It's a muscle, right? It's something that can be exercised. And the beautiful thing is these large language models will exercise that, and it becomes your personal trainer and will show you how that can happen. It is the best brainstorming tool out there. You'll get this idea avalanche. You give any seed of a thought, no matter how small it is, about the large language model, and you just watch as it will create a torrent, and I mean a torrent of variations. And then you pick and you mix and you run with the best. It's a constraint crusher too. So if you list your limitations of what you're afraid of, and this is what I've done too. I list my limitations, what I don't believe, and then you get these creative workarounds. So maybe you are limited. Maybe you aren't good at a certain aspect. And there's no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you study, you just cannot do this certain thing. We'll tell the large language model that. And the creative workarounds that'll come around that are amazing. They'll turn the obstacles into opportunities. And of course, it is inspiration on demand. I already talked about when I'm driving, I can feed any of my interests. I don't care. I've seen examples of people in mastermind, somebody that was a network IT manager and it felt like that's all he could do. But yet he wanted to teach people to play the piano, but he didn't see how he could connect those dots. And so here is this idea to turn those curated interests into a multitude of ideas. I've seen it time and time again. So your creativity, which you have, and you're a creative being, is and combined with these large language models, you become an unstoppable force. I cannot emphasize that enough, right? And so I want you to adopt this new innovator's mindset. First and foremost, I want you to believe that you're an innovator. Again, you've made it this far. You're 16 minutes into this video, approximately. You are an innovator. And so you combined, this is not man versus machine. Okay. It's you amplified. And when I embraced that, that's when the light bulb turned on. That this is not me versus them, man versus machine. This is just an extension of me. It's amplified. It becomes an opportunity multiplier, right? It allows these large language models uncover hidden niches. They uncover market opportunities. You can find synergies. You can create win-win scenarios, no matter how bleak it looks. You can build an ecosystem, not just a business. You can build communities. And so the future isn't AI and the future isn't just human. It's AI and human. Does that make sense? And you're at the forefront. This is what's so exciting about that. You're at the forefront. And so you've seen the blueprint, right? You understand the mindset shift as I'm talking about here. So it isn't just a tool. It really is, I think, a co-pilot to greatness. And I want you to believe that. This is the people that start to embrace that and understand that and realize that this is not a tech thing, that this is a technological tool that can cover every aspect of your life. And number one, it can silence your inner critic. It can shatter your limiting beliefs. It can amplify your creativity. You can become that 7-year-old kid where everything is possible again, right? And number one, it can understand you and you can find your unique voice that is trapped. It's in here. It's trapped in here and it allows it to come out. I've seen this happen multiple times with the people I've already worked with over the last 20 months. They found their real authentic voice. And isn't that exciting? And so now we have a future, and this future is going to belong to the people that embrace this, see the big picture, and they understand that this is an ally. The greatest gift that we've been given to help us become a launch pad for us to become an AI augmented innovator. That's what you are. You're an AI augmented innovator. And so I've been doing this on a smaller scale with AI Ninja, with a smaller mastermind, but now that's why I've shifted to Apex. And that's where if you haven't seen the first video, you want to watch it, it kind of gives you an idea of what I'm looking for, to where that you're not so much a student of AI, but as you work with me, you work with this group, work with myself, you become a strategic partner. So in 6 months after we work together, that we can stand side by side and we look at the world differently. You've been transformed internally. You see the world differently with different colored glasses, and that anything is possible. And we go tackle some major initiatives, right? So not only will I teach you how to grow your own business, that's a given. I'll coach you to help with your mindset one-on-one. I'll show you how to launch a business in rapid fashion. I'll show you how to start making some money. But most importantly, I'm going to show you how we can be strategic partners at the end of 6 months and go maybe tackle some real life-changing initiatives and get paid exchange of value that is handsome at the end of it. Nothing wrong with that, right? And so that's what this is about. And so I want you to go into this week realizing that you are an innovator, okay? You've made it this far. You are an innovator. I want to do life with innovators, right? So if you've made it this far, if you want to consider about joining Apex, you can click the link down there and go to aininja.pro/Apex. There's an application form. It's real simple. Just tell me why you're interested and we can have a conversation, see if it's a fit for you, right? And now I've got to set up on payment plans too. So straight up, it's $5,000 for 6 months, but you could get in for as little as $200 a month if you wanted, $220. It all depends if you want to pay in payments, right? So pay over time, do life with me, and let's start changing the world. Hope to see you on the inside.